Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, my weekly interview show where I learn a little bit more about somebody else's perspective on movies. Now, my guest, I have certainly talked about movies and television, all kinds of stuff with plenty of times. So I feel like we know each other pretty well, but you all are going to learn a little bit more about our fearless leader of the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network and fellow contributor at SiftPop. It is Mike Hilty. Thank you so much for coming on for the fifth round interview here on Lost in the Wasteland.
5 times. I feel like I should get a jacket or something, kind of like what they do on SNL for their Five Timers Club.
Ah, yes. Or you could claim yourself like Booker T. Third time. There you go.
Good call.
Wrestling reference for all of you out there. Enjoy that. But yes, Mike and I know each other very well, and I gave him the Fearless Leader title. That was not something he bestowed upon himself, because he's not that kind of leader. But I could have fun with that.
Yeah,
But Mike, would you like to shamelessly plug anything before we get into the conversation?
sure. You could find me on most social media sites at ML Hilty 2452. You could check out the other shows that I do on the SPDM Crew Podcasting Network. I currently have four with a couple others on the way. So the four that I do are Family Movie Night, where I talk about family movies. It was originally with my 8-year-old daughter until she got too busy with stuff. Then I talk about sports, I talk about TV, and I do a mix CD one where I've had Shane on, I've had a bunch of people on
Mhm.
where we come up with a theme and then we make an 80-minute playlist based on that theme. And then in addition to that, I do another podcast. It's called Geek Speak Louder Than Nerds with fellow SiftPop contributor Nick Farrow. And I also write for SiftPop, and I predominantly write about TV. So check out the stuff that I write on SiftPop.com.
Absolutely. And Nick is a frequent flyer on Wasteland Talks. As you, if you all have checked it out, Nick and I have been going back through every decade of movies and picking our favorite film from each year. Nick has homework this summer, and that's to watch more 1950s movies, so we can make our next video. But no, Mike and I have done a lot um of different kinds of recordings and stuff like that. We're very close, and this is fun getting to dig in, asking other questions, and there are some TV questions on this one for
I did
sure.
see that. I appreciated that.
I started expanding once I got past like the first three sets of questions. I'm like, I need to shake this up a little bit. But
Hmm.
let's get started. So we were actually having a conversation about one of my not great movie watching experiences over the weekend because dumb people going to see 28 years later. But Mike, what is your preferred environment for watching a movie?
I feel like the movie theater experience has fundamentally been changed with COVID,
Mhm.
just like so many other experiences have, like simple things like flying a plane or flying
Yep.
on a plane or doing things like that where decorum is just out the door. I used to be one of those people who used to go to the movie theaters as often as possible, but between the cost and between the people, I've kind of glommed onto watching movies at home a lot
Mhm.
because, like you talked about, I don't have to deal with the audience ruining my experience, which sucks because that is why you go to the movies to have this shared experience with the audience. And if the audience is, or if the audience members are going to be a bunch of dicks about it, then that kind of detracts from the whole
Yeah.
experience. I'm an introvert by nature, so if I do go to the movies, I do like going when there's not a lot of people around.
Mm.
And that's usually early in the morning or just, matinee shows where there's not a lot of people around. Um, so yeah, those two would probably be my ideal theater or like movie watching experience, I suppose. Would be going to a movie, going to the movies with like a smaller crowd, or
Mhm.
just watching it at home.
That is very fair. And a public service announcement. If you are thinking about screaming chicken jockey at the screen at 28 years later, you're part of the problem.
Mhm.
So, but no, that's completely understandable. Because yeah, a lot of people just aren't pulling their weight in terms of other people's experiences at the movies at this point.
Mhm.
I will continue to go to the movies and complain about other people, but I don't blame other people for not wanting to go at this point. And also, yes, it's very expensive.
Yeah.
Um, Next up, what are your standards for watching a movie at a theater in terms of like, I guess to give a little bit more perspective, it's like, because I know some people are very particular about where they sit, what kind of screen, like IMAX, this, that, or the other, reclining seats. But like, what are like your standards for going to the movie?
So a couple standards, and we'll first start with what type of movie am I going to see in the theater? And
Fair.
it's something that I think will enhance my experience by going to see it in the theaters. So
Mhm.
the amount of just the amount of dramas, the amount of, I guess, romantic comedies, a lot of those things, I don't go to the
Mhm.
movies that often anymore for them. So I want to get like a good return on investment on it. So I once I do pick a movie that I want to go see in the theater, I usually pick it based on time and proximity,
Mhm.
because there's a couple theaters around me that I could choose from. There is a movie like it's called Classic Cinemas. It's a less
Mhm.
expensive thing, but they just redid a bunch of the seats. The sound has gotten better. The concessions are pretty affordable, and so are the tickets. So I usually go there when if if I'm in a pinch or if I don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, if there's something like we just saw How to Train Your Dragon, the live action
Mhm.
remake, we saw that on a big screen, and that was pretty awesome because some of the scenes were really cool. So I care more about the sound than I do the picture because if
Mhm.
if the sound is solid, I'll be good to go. Um, I don't do 3D and I don't do 4D anything. That's just not my thing.
Mhm.
Um, Me and my sister over last summer we saw Twisters in
Mhm.
4D, and I did not enjoy that. I love the movie, but I did
Yeah.
not enjoy that experience. Um, I typically like to go somewhere where there's reclining seats
Mhm.
because just it's just generally more comfortable. The theater, the classic cinemas theater, they have heated seats, so that's kind of nice as well because that also negates the need to bring a blanket. Um,
Mhm.
I love all these families that are bringing in like a beach blanket and
Yeah.
all these different things just to camp out at the movie theaters now. And then from there, I guess the last part is that I try to pick a seat that I can kind of just like spread out a little bit, and I am not around a lot of people. I like my like my bubble space. So, and that usually means I'm closer to the edge.
Mhm.
I don't need to be right in the center. Um, I'm perfectly fine sitting by the edge. Plus, also gives me a clear shot to the exit once the movie's done.
There's definitely some things I share in terms of some of my standards going to the movies, and I go to a lot of different theaters because like I feel very lucky that I have like 12 movie theaters within 30 minutes of my house
Yeah.
that I could choose from to go to, and I have relatively lower standards for certain things than most people. Like I don't need like premium formats and stuff like that. I also sit at the periphery because I don't want to be near people.
Hmm.
There's the AMC Marlton near my house, which is like 14 minutes away. I love some of their auditoriums have pair of seats in like the back corner
Hmm.
that's like completely separated from all the other seats, and I'm like, you those are fine.
That I
And
will take those.
yep. And I also do not do 3D. I That's not my kind of stuff. I don't need that.
There have been a couple movies that I saw in 3D that it was cool. it enhanced the experience. I would probably say the two movies I saw in 3D that I thought, hey, this is actually kind of cool. I did when I lived in California, I saw The Nightmare Before Christmas in 4D at the El Cap.
Nice.
That was awesome. And then watching Jackass 3D in actual 3D was interesting. It was gross, but it was still
I
interesting.
would imagine. I did see Avatar: The Way of Water in 3D because the press screening was 3D.
Oh.
And it was engrossing. Like that movie's made for that.
Mhm.
And they put in a lot of effort because James Cameron's not going to skimp on any technical aspects of his movies. And for 3 hours and 15 minutes, I handled it that time. Usually I get headaches, and I guess that might be because a lot of the 3D's like not good
Mhm.
and how it affects you. But now thinking about what film will always get an emotional reaction out of you.
Well, it depends on your definition of emotional because
There's a
there's
lot of emotions, Mike.
there's at least five of them, eight of them if you are a teenager. So
Yeah,
I got
barely.
I got that going for me. If I take a look at some of the movies that I know get me or give me the feels, for
Hmm.
example, a movie that you and I just talked about on one of your podcasts, the Wasteland Retrospective,
Yep.
Life is Beautiful.
Yep.
That one's always going to
Which I
get.
heard you talk again about on the SiftPop Writers Room.
Yeah. So it's funny because between talking about it on one of your podcasts, talking about it on the BTB Movie Club, which I picked that movie, and then talking about it on the Sif Pop Writers Room as well. It's like, man, this is a lot that
Hmm.
I've talked about this movie. In terms of other movies that get me from an emotional standpoint. Um, Moulin Rouge always gets me from an emotional
Yeah.
standpoint because every time I think she's, every time I think the ending is going to be different and it's not, then
Hmm.
that just kind of bums me out. Um, Pixar movies, there's always at least like one moment,
Yep.
my beloved Pixar Punch, where there's always something that happens like, oh, oh, this wow, okay, this got me. And the two that the two that I think got me the most was Coco and the first Inside Out. Um, I will give a shout out to Up, the first 10 minutes of
Yep.
Up, because if you don't get any type of reaction from the first 10 minutes of Up, you're a robot, plain
Yep.
and simple. So, but yeah, Pixar movies get me good. And then the last one, from an emotional standpoint, that always gets me, The Land Before Time. Always gets me.
Hmm. It's just so many movies from childhood that are just like, what? Dead parents. And they still do it.
They
And they
still do it, even to this day. They still do it.
looking at you, Elio.
Well, looking at you,
Um,
Lilo and Stitch as well.
yeah. Huh, they basically kind of had the same exact plot in terms of that.
Hmm.
Almost.
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 Yeah.
Same basic setup though. And they both have aliens. Hmm.
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 Interesting.
Hmm. Letting that sink in. But no, all of those definitely get emotional reactions. And like, yes, I concur. If you don't get moved by the first 10 minutes of Up, I have concerns.
Hmm.
I have some serious concerns.
Yeah.
Either you're Anton Sugar or you are a robot for sure. There you go. Now, I have a two-part question here for you, Mike. So, first off, what film series would you wish could continue that has stopped?
This is tricky because there's a couple movies in or movie series that I would want to be revived, and I think a couple of these are in active development. And by
Okay.
far, the first the first series that I want to see revived is the X-Men, and
Yes.
mainly because each time the X-Men has been rebooted, it has ended on such a dour note that
Hmm.
like how did this happen? Why what is happening? And now that Marvel seems to be struggling way more than I think people realize right now, I'm wondering when they're just going to scrap everything that they're doing and like, okay, full steam ahead on the X-Men because if there's anything that's
Secret War.
yeah, I think if there's anything that's going to save the MCU now, it's got to be the X-Men. So I'm very much looking forward to that, but
Hmm.
with the first trilogy ending on the last stand is like, ugh, what happened?
Hmm.
Besides, you change directors super quick, not a great director, and your story just is awful, and you fast track this. Like,
Yep.
okay, but then you look at Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, like you messed up the Dark Phoenix story twice.
Again.
Like, wow. And to mess up Apocalypse as bad as they did is upsetting because Apocalypse is an iconic villain. And for them just to do it dirty like that, I just can't believe that. Um, not a film series per se, but it really bums me out that we only got one Constantine movie.
Yeah.
Even though
Which might
we'll
be coming.
we'll see about that. Um, and then it's another film series. I I really want them like I would love it if Christopher Nolan came back and did more Dark Knight movies. So
That'd be
very
crazy.
very superhero centric
Hmm.
for these series, but yeah, those would probably be the ones.
Very fair. And the opposite end is which one do you want to see stop?
There's a couple that I would like to see stop. And the first one that comes to mind for me, um, they got to stop making Toy Story movies because the first three Toy Story
Mm.
movies are are amazing. And then the fourth one came out, it's fine, but that story is done. Like it's either that or they got to reboot it. Maybe that's what Pixar needs to do is to reboot all of these movies. Um, another film series that I kind of wish they would stop, and it's probably not because it's going to make a truckload of money. Um, I don't need a Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Like I really don't. Like
Oh, it's coming, Mike.
oh yeah, and it's going to make a shitload of money as usual.
Hmm.
Um, and then I guess the last series for me that I think just really needs to stop, and I think they've finally gotten the hint because they it's been a while since like they had one go to theaters. The paranormal activity movies have just gotten progressively worse. And I think it's time to shelve that for a while until somebody can just reboot it at some point. But
Well, and I feel like they have gotten way past like what the idea of what made this movie so scary in the first place.
oh yeah.
And also that it cost 2 cents
Oh yeah.
to make. I I actually really love Toy Story 4. And it's very interesting that they're gonna be making an iPad, a tablet, the villain in Toy Story 5, which is an interesting take. Um, I'll admit I'll keep seeing Toy
Oh,
Story movies.
I'm gonna keep
Um,
well, but I don't know. I I feel like the need to make some of these other like just some of these sequels just doesn't need to happen. Like I feel like if there's two particular like types of movies where they just get sequel after sequel because they keep just making money are kids movies and then horror movies.
yep,
That's yeah.
there are so many horror franchises that should have just ended
Yeah.
a long time ago, but they'll keep going.
They will keep going always.
Now, Mike, what historical event should get a film adaptation?
We talked about this just before we started recording, but the stories that will come out about COVID-19, I'm looking forward to some of those stories. And I don't know, it's interesting because looking at what aspect of this do I really want to learn more about?
Yeah.
And honestly, there's a show on HBO Max. It's called The Pit that kind of dives into it a little bit, but
Hmm.
the toll that COVID took on the medical community, um, that would be something that I would love to explore. I would love to see a little bit more about what what it took to, this Operation Warp Speed to try to get a vaccine out in like
Yeah.
record time. Just global response to everything as well. Not to get too political as well, I would love to see a something out there that shows the newsroom, like think the newsroom, but about the 2016 election. And just
Oh,
everyone's like, because up until that time, everyone was like, this guy doesn't have a chance. And yet here we are.
here we are. And here we are in 2025.
Yeah. Yeah.
That show's still going on.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
We're in the
Mm,
third season of this. Took
right.
some twists and turns along the way.
And we're still
Every
twisting
episode.
and turning.
Every
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. It's great. Great.
Oh, it's hard for me to want to see stuff about all this right now, but boy, will future generations witness some insanity
Hmm.
that happened during this specific period of time when we've been alive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I just
'Cause-
feel like ever since I was 10 years old when 9/11 happened, there's just been like everything for 23 years since, soon to be 24 years, has just been like complete mayhem and nonsense and ridiculousness. So many crazy things.
I know.
Now, Mike, what person deserves to get a biopic made about them?
This is an interesting question because I feel like most people have gotten a biopic
Mhm.
about them, right? The ones that are worth telling, at least, have at least gotten one. So if I'm looking at kind of some more contemporary figures
Okay.
that probably have, I'd love to see a little bit of a biopic for. Um, I'm a basketball guy, so would love to see something not so much on Michael Jordan because we got The Last Dance and we got Air, which is Michael Jordan adjacent.
Mhm.
Um, I actually wouldn't mind seeing a biopic on Kobe Bryant. And I want an objective biopic. None of this that's going to sweep the whole incident where he sexually assaulted somebody in Colorado. Not the, hey, I'm going to sweep away the fact that he said a gay slur to a referee and got in trouble for it because he got filmed doing it. I'm not going to gloss over the fact that he was just a giant asshole to people, but I just want to see like a complete and whole picture of somebody. So Kobe Bryant would be up there. Um, yeah, I forgot to mention this about historical event,
Yeah.
but I really want to see a film adaptation of the 2016 World Series as well. Because selfishly, it's my Cubbies winning the World
Yeah.
Series. Arguably one of the greatest games ever played, that game seven that went into extra innings and had a rain delay that wasn't a rain delay, but kind of a rain delay. But I was on the edge of my seat that whole game.
Hey, I get it. I would have a movie about the 2001 World Series
Hmm.
and
Well,
arguably one of the other greatest game sevens in World Series history.
for sure. Um,
The quote unquote underdog Arizona Diamondbacks, who are one of the best teams in baseball that year, but we're gonna forget that point because everybody was rooting for the Yankees because of 9/11.
yep.
Not this 10-year-old.
No, no.
I was not.
Um, uh, other than that, there's some just like random people. Like I
Mhm.
would really love it if they would do a biopic on like Keith Richards, drug dealer. Just like that guy who has gotten like a ton of money, and I'm sure just a ton of just everything for him. Um, I would love to see something like that. And I guess the last one, I because I'm looking at some movies because for the BTB movie club, I have I have to pick a movie from like either a Michael Caine movie or a Viola Davis movie. And
Mhm.
one movie that I have that's kind of in the running is The Prestige. So I wouldn't mind seeing something about Harry Houdini that would
Would be
be
interesting.
interesting. Yeah. Make it a musical, gloss over anything like a la Greatest Showman, but um
Incorporate Dua Lipa,
or just have it
perform
just go
Houdini in it.
or have it just go completely nuts and
Mhm.
let's like just do legit magic on this. So yeah, I think those would be ones that I'd be interested in seeing.
I think the Houdini one would definitely be interesting. That would have been like a Tim Burton, Johnny Depp written all over early 90s movie that they probably would have made. The Kobe Bryant one would be very interesting. I feel like some people, specifically his family, might take that personally.
Probably.
Um,
Yeah.
one of the greatest memes to come out of the Last Dance for sure. You
Right.
know, and I took that personally for sure.
Right.
That was such a great documentary series.
Mhm.
I haven't watched a sports doc and got that engrossed in a long time. But no, I'd be down for a Kobe movie.
Yeah.
Yeet for distance, Kobe for accuracy. Um, Next up, what is your go-to streaming service? And what features and content do you desire most from a platform?
It's hard because each streaming service has their pros and there's ones that have their cons. So what I'm typically looking for in a streaming service is that I need variety, meaning
Okay.
I need I need stuff for me, so I need a shitload of TV shows. I
Yes.
need a bunch of movies, and also for my wife, she needs her like crime procedural shows.
Mhm.
She needs her, some like light reality TV, and I need something for the kids as
Yeah.
well. So it really is a toss up between Disney Plus right now because Disney Plus, now that they've incorporated more Hulu stuff in there, I don't have to go back and forth, and that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Um, but if I could get old HBO Max, which it looks like we're getting that sometime soon, if I could get
Hmm.
old HBO Max, I would actually pick that over Disney Plus because look, all the Discovery stuff, which that's another moment in history where I'd love to see the behind the scenes stuff on that, where it's like we're gonna combine these two services. Just kidding, we're gonna have to go back. I just want something in the style of the BlackBerry movie for for that whole thing. You could just call it Max, and that could be the movie.
Yeah.
It'll be a Max exclusive, day and date. Because just what a perfect way
I
to
want the title to be parentheses HBO and
right.
Max.
No, that'll be good. So, old HBO Max was great. Um, so I would probably pick that slightly over Disney Plus.
Yeah, I Max has been and will be my go-to because you get all the HBO stuff. You have Criterion and Turner Classic Movies, which is a big selling point for me.
Yeah.
As a charter member of the Criterion channel, I have had that streaming service, and it's just like being able to get a big chunk of that on Max is a nice positive, and having Studio Ghibli, Cartoon Network, and
DC, um,
yes,
Harry Potter stuff. Yeah, all of
oh
that.
yeah, so we go watch a new Harry Potter show. Yeah.
Sure.
Um, Disney Plus is definitely up there just for like the back catalog.
Hmm.
And I watch every single Star Wars and Marvel show, so no matter what. So I'm in
Yeah.
and I watch it every week. So
Well, and not only that, the kids content, like just the Disney, the Pixar,
unmatched.
um, all of that, even the National Geographic stuff. I
Yeah.
love some of the National Geographic stuff that's
Watching
on
those
there.
Galapagos documentaries for sure.
Right. So Bluey is the only thing that is like kind of if if Bluey were to ever become a free agent, wherever they go, I will go. But mom, uh, because we're unfortunately starting to get out of the Bluey phase. Um,
Mhm.
we're now firmly in the pupstruction phase. So
Ah,
that's a strike against Disney Plus because they're like discount Paw Patrol with only like the one construction pup. So like all these streaming services all have a lot of crap. And if I'm taking a look also at the original content, because once upon a time that was a big thing for all these streaming services, right? Your original
yeah,
um, I'm sorry, HBO's original content is better than most of the stuff Disney puts out, minus Andor.
yeah. I know my nephews have moved into the Loud House.
Oh,
Um, yep.
oh, buddy,
So
no.
been watching a lot of that.
Mm.
And my wife made them some crocheted characters. So
Oh, nice.
that's what my wife does. Next up, they want Patrick. I'm Patrick. They're also watching some SpongeBob too.
Mm.
Next up, so here's a little bit more television for your taste, Mike. What TV series do you wish would be revived for more seasons?
This is a tough call because there's a lot of TV shows that were canceled too soon that deserve another shot.
Yeah,
Famously, like your Fireflies, your Freaks and Geeks, different things like that.
yeah.
If I'm looking at a show, like, and there's also limited series that they were just one season and then we could use more of that. So I'm actually taking from that group, and there's two that I would love to see more of. And they're both on HBO. I want to see more of the Penguin because I think they really, really did something incredible with the Penguin. And I also want to see more Watchmen.
Mm.
But unfortunately, both of those were perfect as is. And
I feel like one of those has a better chance of getting another season. It's probably Penguin.
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it's just more accessible. It's just more now. Um, because right now with TV series, there's a lot out there that just I don't know. I think for the most part they were canceled for a reason,
Mhm.
and I don't see a whole lot of circumstances where I think it would be a good idea to bring some of these back. Like I look at a lot of the shows on HBO that they end at like the right time, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of them that overstay their welcome. But I don't know. I think generally, for the most part, there hasn't been anything out there that I'm like, yes, this needs more seasons of this. Like the closest that I could come up with would probably be Firefly because Firefly,
Had so much potential.
it had so much potential. It was just on the wrong network.
Mhm. I need more the next Big Door Prize.
Mm,
Because damn you, Apple.
that's
Damn you.
that's
Ah,
that's a good one because that one was that's an outlier for Apple to cut a show.
giant cliffhanger.
Yeah, because originally one of my picks would have been Veronica Mars, and even it
Mm,
is still kind of that because season 4 of Veronica Mars ends on an enormous cliffhanger, and it's like, what am I supposed to do with this now? Like,
there you go.
Why would you do this, Hulu? Why would you do this? I don't know.
I have a special announcement for Netflix. What you did to Glow is terrible, and I hate you.
Yeah.
Um, and BoJack.
There's a lot of show like Netflix is notorious for like giving things a short leash and some things a little too long of a leash. So I don't know. There's some shows out there that
I
I,
can't believe Big Mouth has gotten 8 seasons.
I know it's
I
crazy.
still watch it, but it's like that surprised the hell out of me that that's the show. That's the R-rated animated show that got 8 seasons, and BoJack Horseman got canceled before they could like really properly finish what they were trying to do.
Right.
You know. Also, my wife and I love Tuca and Birdie, and that got canceled by two separate networks. And I wish that it got more because
Mm,
honestly, love that show.
yeah.
Next up, we got two last questions here. So number 9, what actor would you love to see make a comeback? So we want to see them get Tarantino.
I'm trying to think because they're because my original answer for this died this year, and it was Gene Hackman because um I thought Gene Hackman was primed to make a comeback at some point. Yes, I
Oh,
understand.
welcome to Mooseport.
I cannot believe Welcome to Mooseport just destroyed this man's career the way that it did. Um, Honestly, like prime Lindsay Lohan was really great as well, but it looks like she's making a comeback with
Yeah. She got the
Friday.
Netflix rom-coms, and now she's coming back to theaters with Freakier Friday.
Mhm. But I'm trying to think like who out there is kind of in need of like either a Kiana Sans type of thing, or like even make a comeback a la like Kiwei Kwan, because now
Yeah.
he is everywhere. It's crazy how
I had a blast with Love Hurts. Everybody just hates this poor 80-minute movie. Those are
that
my that's my piece.
that is fair. I will give you that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of struggling to find a kind of pick someone because there's a couple people out there that I'm like, dude, you've had your moment in the sun, and I think it's time for you to sit back down. Like Adrian Brody, like that Oscar speech is like, yeah, this is why Hollywood shunned you for a long time. Like you're a pretentious douchebag. I mean, because like Kurt Russell was pretty high up there, but Kurt Russell um did have his moment in the sun with Guardians, and he was in the Hateful Eight, right? So
And Fast and Furious franchise, Mr. Nobody.
mhm,
He has to be coming back, right?
probably,
They
yeah.
brought literally everybody else back.
Yeah,
So
literally nobody has stayed dead in that series. So yeah, I think it's inevitable that they're going to bring him back. I don't know. That one's a tough call because I think most everyone that I could think of has come back. I guess one possible one. Um, I was a pretty big fan of Emil Hirsch, and I'm wondering what
oh,
happened to him.
he just
Besides, he
does
was
a whole bunch of straight to VOD stuff at this point. But I think the last studio film that he did was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
probably
But he was such a
small.
small. He got Tarantino, or at least he attempted to get Tarantino.
He got Tarantino. Yep,
I think
that's
that's a good pick. I think he has some interesting things left, given the right project. But he just keeps getting saddled with all these straight to VOD
mhm.
kinds of thrillers and stuff like that. But
Yeah, because I actually read an article today once I was kind of pondering this. I read an article that Ezra Miller made an appearance at
they
the
sure did.
the Cannes Film Festival, and I,
They sure did.
I'm like, okay. if you want a perfect example of somebody that probably needs to stay away from Hollywood just like a tad bit longer, probably number one on that list would be Army Hammer, and then probably number two on that list would probably be Ezra Miller.
Oh, real cannibal Army Hammer.
Yeah,
Here's the thing. Um, yeah. If anybody says cancel culture exists, they're full of crap. Kevin Spacey's back making movies. It is what it is.
cancel
Mel
culture.
Gibson got nominated for an Oscar
Yeah,
for Best Director after all of that stuff that happened. So
it's
you
only
know, anything
it,
can happen. Anybody can make a comeback.
it's only a matter of time before we get another Will Smith movie out there. He's been laying low.
Well, except for his music videos that I saw clips of him aggressively trying to say that he is a straight man who loves women.
Cool.
Okay, Will. You know there's not a problem if you weren't, but whatever.
we
We'll
probably
just
we,
just
we would
throwing that out
definitely
there.
like you all the same.
But
So
at the end of the day, I'd like to see Emil Hirsch pop up in some more stuff that's more like mainstream. Because like I've seen him in movies in the past 6 years. I don't think most people have seen him in movies in the past 6 years
no.
because I watch everything. But Mike, my last question for you is: if you met someone new and they had to get to know you through watching movies, what three movies would you pick for them to watch?
Um, the first one would probably be The Matrix, because looking for something that's like heady sci-fi in
Mhm.
addition to being like an incredible action movie and just something that's like cutting edge. Um, the second one would probably be Wally, because if you're looking for something that shows that like animation could be so much more than just like kid stuff, it's got real things to say. Um, that would be up there. And then my last one would be Spaceballs because I love Spaceballs.
We've been listening to the fans for the past 39 years, but this is a movie we made.
Yeah.
I'm ready for Spaceballs too.
I'm ready
Uh,
for that as well, especially with that epic trailer that or announcement that they released. Just everything that they list, just lampooning things. That was
that
pretty
Star Wars gag was on
pretty.
point.
Yeah.
On point. What was the other one? Oh, the whole alien predator hodgepodge of things.
Hmm.
That was so good. But
Yeah.
no, I love all three of them, and they're all sci-fi. So there you go.
Hmm.
Because one of them is going to make you laugh more than the others.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But Mike, you've been on here plenty of times,
Hmm.
and you know how I like to end my shows to have my guests ask me a question.
Hmm.
So, what would you like to ask the Wasteland Reviewer?
Hmm. There is so lately it's 2025 and there have
Mm,
been a lot of things that it's like, hey, give me your all stars for the last 25 years in terms of anything. So I'm gonna do three Mount Rushmores for you. So I want you to do Mount Rushmore for the best performance of the last 25 years, the best movie of the last 25, four best movies of the last 25 years, and the worst four movies of the last 25 years.
well, performances. I'm gonna go one, no brainer. Daniel Day Lewis as Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood,
Mhm,
because it is arguably the greatest performance of all time.
mhm,
I'm gonna say that's 25 years of movies to think through.
mhm.
Um, I'm gonna say it. I absolutely loved Gene Hackman as Royal Tenenbaum
Oh yeah,
in the Royal Tenenbaums.
that was that was criminal that he wasn't nominated for that.
Oh, ridiculous.
Mhm.
Um, I really want to split this with two actors and two actresses. Um, I'm gonna
Yeah.
say Toni Collette for Hereditary.
Another one's travesty that the Academy
Travesty.
does not care about horror or genre movies.
And Emma Stone for Poor Things, because that was one of the most interesting, dynamic performances I think I've ever seen in a movie.
Well, and
I
particularly given her as well, like yeah, for sure, that's a good one.
um I really would try to squeeze Ray Fiennes from Grand Budapest Hotel. Because I think that was an absolutely amazing performance, but I'll stick with the four of those. Movie wise,
Should we just put Mad Max Fury Road on there as a placeholder?
so I was gonna say the Lord of the Rings. I gotta cheat. Lord of the
That's fine.
Rings is the big spot.
The
Um,
super special edition that has all three movies in their giant
yeah,
special editions, the 12-hour edition,
yes. So Lord
the
of the Rings,
Snyder cut version of the Lord of the Rings. Okay, cool.
the Jackson cut. Lord of the Rings, Fury Road, Trek 2, and No Country for Old Men.
Mm, good one.
They're also my favorite movies, so that one was honestly kind of easy. I'll do this because you're my friend, but I really hate making worst of it lists and stuff like that because I don't find joy in talking about the worst things. But I will put up there The Swing of Things.
Mm,
It is a rom-com,
mm.
parentheses romantic and parentheses comedy. Where I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, a dolphin raped somebody in it.
Great.
Um, yep,
Mm.
just peak,
They'll let anyone make a film, won't they?
just peak. I'm gonna cheat and use my spreadsheet that I have here with all of my years ranked because I'm trying to think of some of the ones I've absolutely hated. Swing of Things is on there. That's from my wife Jess. So she absolutely hates that movie, and I think it's the worst movie she's ever watched. Um, let's see. My ranked 872nd movie of 2024 is Protocol 7,
Mm,
which is this wet dream of anti-vax conspiracy theory
cool.
movie, which um yeah, I found it extremely disrespectful and disgusting. But whatevs. Um Jean Benet's Tricycle. It's one of the strangest documentaries I ever watched, and it was extremely disrespectful that it would drag what happened to that poor girl into this strange, weird movie that had no business existing, to be honest. Um, some of these are so bad. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna do this because how egregious this was. We're gonna go back to 2019, and it is The Haunting of Sharon Tate,
Oh,
which turned the murders of Sharon Tate into a horror movie. Um, were there ghosts? Was she seeing things? Did she have visions?
mm,
It was extremely distasteful. If people thought what happened in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was distasteful, this will go there. And an honorable mention is Teen Titans Go to see Space Jam because it literally just made Space Jam worse. But I don't know if I could really call it a movie.
that's hard to do. So,
It's like they edited down Space Jam
mhm.
and made jokes the whole time, and I'm like, I wish I just watched Space Jam, and this was terrible. But I do have it on my list, but I don't know if I would actually call it a separate movie or not. It was like bad Mystery Science Theater,
Oh,
but the Teen Titans,
hmm,
like as in bad as they did a bad job, not the movie.
got it. Okay.
So there you go.
All right.
There's some really bad ones.
I have one more question for you. You and I are both
Okay.
South Park fans, right?
Yes.
So, um, and this is a topic that I actually might expand a little bit and maybe have you on because what a podcast I listened to recently did a draft of Simpsons episodes because there was somebody that um,
Mhm.
wrote a book about the Simpsons. So I am going to have you instead of episodes because I may ping you for that at some point. I want you to draft your top 5 South Park characters.
Well, Cartman has to be number one because,
Does
like,
he? Does he have to be number one? Because
I feel like South Park wouldn't be a thing if Cartman
well,
wasn't there being a complete bastard. Like,
true, but for me, if I was drafting against you, my number one pick would be Randy Marsh. He would be my number one pick.
hot, 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 hot.
Because Randy is someone who's gotten better with age, whereas Cartman sometimes kind of grates on
Like,
me,
I have
but
to
he's
ask
also
you, what happened to you, Randy? Randy, what happened to you, Randy?
Mhm.
I am Lord Yeah Yeah Yeah. Obviously Randy is something because how did that character become like the best thing about South Park?
Mhm.
Oh, so great. Um, I might actually have to put Satan up there. I
Oh,
think Satan's a ton of fun. Oh, so Dom, I feel like you're not really attracted to me. Is that why you want to have sex with me from behind? Are you imagining that I'm somebody else? Like, think you would be Liza Minnelli?
I'm telling you, that's his song in the South Park movie is among one of the best songs on that entire album.
Oh. Okay, so I got Hartman, Randy, and Satan.
Okay.
Oh no. This is out there, but I have to go with Mickey Mouse.
What
Randy,
seems to be the trouble? Haha.
you're gonna have sex with that pangolin.
Oh my God, that Jonas Brothers episode
Demented.
is an all-timer. Just
Demented. And I feel like I have to round out with Butters.
yeah, Butters has to be up there.
I'm just a little bit curious.
Uh-oh.
The oh my god. Oh my god. When you find out that he sells NFTs in the future, I lost it.
Mhm.
Lost it. Oh my god. I can't believe they made an Ozempic Mad Max tag. Oh my god. Here's the thing. There's so many shows that have outlasted their welcome.
Mhm. Looking
To
at
be
you,
honest,
my
how are the
guy.
Simpsons still going?
That's a great question.
Family Guy, that kind of stuff. I will say Bob's Burgers just honestly had one of my favorite episodes when they went to AC, which was the most recent episode. So
Nice.
they're still going strong. South Park did not miss.
No, they
I
didn't.
have loved like every single one of the fact when they used WAP for that streaming wars episode where it's just the little boats going streaming down the water and it's like there's holes in this house, holes in this. It's like they can't miss.
No, they.
And I cannot wait for the new season to come out this summer. I'm
Mhm.
so excited. They can keep making those specials for forever. And I'll keep watching them and reviewing them. Channel.
Well,
Yes.
and Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they can like anything that they do, whether it's a Broadway musical, whether it's a movie, whether it's a TV show, I'm there. I'm looking forward to whatever this musical that they have coming out with Kendrick Lamar. Um,
Yes.
I'm there for it. So
Yep.
I'll take it.
So let's run this back. So we got Eric Cartman, we have Randy Marsh, we have Satan, we have Mickey Mouse, and we have Butters. His last name's Scotch, isn't it?
Yes, Leopold
Butterscotch.
Butters.
Scotch.
Yeah.
And coming off the bench is Mr., Mrs., Mr. Garrison.
Mm.
Uh, the
Which
300 spoof with Lesbos is still one of my favorite episodes. Scissor me,
it's
Xerxes.
Scissor Me Timbers. Yeah, that one.
Scissor me, Timbers.
That one was.
You know, I don't trust anything that bleeds for 5 days and doesn't die.
God, and
And that's an early
that's an
gem.
early
Early
joke.
gem.
Early.
Early. Oh, and then he turned into Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that episode when they went back to Myrtle Beach and he fell back into Trump. Oh man. See, now I want to watch South Park. But yes, your last question is, do I want to be on this drafting episodes of South Park thing? Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So, Mike, those were some excellent questions, and that was a lot of fun. And you all should still watch South Park. South Park's still
South Park
legit.
still's got it. They
Still
they
got it.
really do.
Still got it. But Mike, thank you so much for coming on and chatting movies and TV with me.
Of course, always happy to do it. Shane, I consider you a good friend, so I look forward to chatting with you every time, whether it's our monthly Wasteland retrospective
Yes.
on the
Our
SPD.
next one, Happy Gilmore and The Wedding Singer
Yeah,
in time for Happy Gilmore 2.
looking forward to that very much. So, but yeah, I always appreciate our time together. So thanks for having me on, and I hope to continue to come on.
Absolutely. And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.